everyone, thanks for joining me today. Today I'm going to, I don't like to stick on one thing too long, so I've moved on from resist. I'm going to come back to it, but I wanted to show you, or do a quick mini series I suppose, on using the gel press or gel plate. Many of you like to use these, and many of you haven't used them but would like to. So I'm just showing you here what I'm talking about. This is a gel printing plate. It's very popular. It's a mono printing method. It uses this soft reusable synthetic plate, I suppose, and we call this the jelly plate. And instead of using a normal printing press, we can create unique and beautiful prints for use, which we can use in our collage. And I love making all the papers that I use. So this is my big one. I thought I'd show this to you. This is A4, and that covers an awful lot. I can do quite a bit with this one. But I also have quite a small one as well, which is this gel printing plate, 3 by 5 inches, and I use this one a lot too because this allows me to experiment without spending too much time or using too much paint. Okay, so suppose you've got your gel plate. Actually, I'd like to say I'd like a A5 one, but I'm working up to getting that. Okay, and the thing to say, there's a lot of snobbery around using gel plates. There's gel plate snobbery. People who are experts in this and have all the ways to do things. Well, that's fine, but I believe art is for everybody. I believe that we can dip in and out of these various techniques as we wish, and that everyone can have a go. It doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong. Okay, so next thing, you've got your gel plate, got one of these, you looking for paints. Most people will use acrylic paint, things like this. I've got some good branded acrylic paint here. And again, this is a snob item, I suppose. I've added these to my collection. They will give you very good prints, also, if you're going to be doing this a lot. But I started out, and I still use craft paints. So I guess the thing to say is to use what you've got available. All of these have worked fairly successfully. My mantra in life is give it a go, have a go, try it out. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Okay, so you've got your paints, you've got your gel. What else? Papers. Again, people have views about papers. I don't mind. I'm ripping things up and putting them in my journal and my collages, so I just use old printer paper. I don't care. This is perfectly cut down, so I can use this on this small plate. But again, if you want to, you can use mixed media. You can try different things. There are things like tissue paper, wet tissue paper, which stands up to the wet a bit better. It's like stronger. You just try things. Be a little careful though, because you don't want things sticking to the plate. These plates can be easily ruined. So just try at least a decent bit of paper to start with that you've got lying around. Test it out, and then if you really want to keep it nice, you can perhaps use a more expensive paper once you've got into it. Next thing is the brayer, which is how we apply the ink to the plate. I've got 3 of these. I had a heap more, but I got rid of them because this was back in the day. I had brayer for different things, but these are really helpful to get necessary really to get the ink onto, or the paint onto the plate in a nice smooth fashion, so you don't have any sort of splodges or areas where it's thicker than or thinner. And you choose the one which is the right size for your plate. So obviously if I'm using this big one, I'll use the big one, and if I'm using the little one, then I can use this little one, or even this one as well. Okay, so when you apply the paint, and we will go into this, I will do a print in a second. When you apply the paint to this, you can then put your paper on top to create the print, and then you can smooth it out with this little gadget here, but generally you can just use your hand. So you can do this with pretty much everything that you've got lying around, to be honest. Okay, so let's move on. I'm just going to do a quick print here. Don't want to spend too much time here because I'm going to develop this series a bit. So I'm keep it in its plastic film, keeps it nice. You can see I've got a bit left over from last time. I don't care too much about that, so I'm just going to put it down here. I'm going to probably work with this one. Now, what I will say, if you want to protect your brayer, is have a piece of cloth or a piece of paper to one side. Paper, if you use paper, you can actually create quite nice designs and actually use that bit of paper just to roller your brayer off, so the paint doesn't stick, because acrylic paints and these types of paints can really stick around and will stick to the brayer, and then you'll have problems getting it off. Can be done, but you want to just avoid it to start with. Okay, so I'm just going to do a very simple one colour, and she says, trying to get it out, don't want too much. I've probably put too much on there because my hand slipped, but the idea is we're just gonna, you can see that's fairly thick. Now, a lot of people you see doing this, Now each time you're going backwards and forwards, you're kind of lifting it back up again. So I tend to try, if I can, just do it like this. And you can see the bit of dried paint there that just created a ruckle, so I probably should have cleaned that off the plate to start with. But as you know, I just go in warts and all and let you have a go. Or I have a go and then point out things that I've done wrong. So I think I'll probably put a little too much on this plate. I'm rolling it off there. I'm just going to take a piece of paper, and as I say, I just use old paper I've got lying around, apply it down, and then we're just going to put a hand on it. And a lot of people say, and I think I do tend to agree, that it will feel a little cool as it starts to adhere. It should be enough. It's actually so hot here at the moment that actually I'm struggling to see a difference in the temperature. You can peel back a bit and you can see actually that one, that's a really strong print actually. I probably wouldn't use something like this. I'd be mixing colors, adding a different effects. Now what's a ghost print? A ghost print is just what you've got left over on there, which isn't much actually because I've taken up so much ink there, which will be a much lighter version of what you've just produced. And you might want that lighter finish. That's ridiculously too light actually, to be honest, to be a decent ghost print. But let's have another go with this. I'm going to put in a different colour now, to be honest. I don't really like that green. Let's see if we can get into this one, which is a bit more of a turquoise. So here I'm working with these acrylic paints in these bottles, but they're more like a craft paint, I suppose. I'm trying not to see the problem I'm having, because by the time it comes out, it's kind of splodges. Got a blue here. Let's see what that does, shall we? Okay. And we can go like that as well if we want. We can go across multiple colours. That's kind of splodged a bit there. And get another piece of this one to get the first print. I'm going to pull that up a little quicker, and that will leave us a little bit more on the plate to work with. And then let's bring that old bit of paper back in again, see if we can get some more off this plate. I think what's happening, because it's so hot here at the moment, everything's drying super quick. That's a little bit better. So you get the idea. You're getting what we call a ghost print, which is the second print off the plate. And that can sometimes give you really nice effect. You can see me just picking that paint off there. Having said that, be very careful when you're handling these, because you don't want to sort of dig anything to it. Things like nails and what have you, you don't want to sort of punch anything to it, because you will ruin the plate. You also ruin the plate with the sorts of things that you use on it, and I'm going to do a video about that, because you can use inks and various other things. You don't want to be using oil-based paints, like oil paints can ruin your plate altogether. So for starters, stick to the acrylics. If you've got this type of thing, that's fine as well. And just have a go, I think. And my first ones that I did ages ago were surprisingly good. So you'll probably be quite surprised with the sorts of effects that you can get. Okay, that's it for today. I wanted to keep the video fairly short. We're up to almost 10 minutes. So come back again. We're going to stretch this technique. We're going to do a lot more with the gel prints, because I absolutely love making these. And I think you will too. Okay, bye.